Success in pharmacy, as in any other profession, is achieved by diligence, persistence, and strict regard for professional ethics.
Hi, everyone. Really glad you're joining me again for another episode of Pharmacast with Pindy, your prescription for the latest info in pharmacy. On this series, we'll be tackling the evolving role of community pharmacists and the opportunity that comes with that evolution. I'm Pindy Janda, a pharmacist, an advocate, and the Director of Procurement at Imperial Distributors Canada. And I'll be your host.
Call upon sources deep within you as you offer health and wellness and care to bring about healing in other people's lives.
Every year, over 2,200 people graduate with an entry to practice pharmacy across Canada, eager to make their mark on healthcare. Today's episode, we'll be looking at the changing face of pharmacists. How will this new emerging class impact how we interact with our local communities and run our businesses? And what do they bring to the table? Most importantly, how can we leverage this all to meet the impending challenge of Amazon's expansion? Believe me, it's coming.
Now they are launching a full online pharmacy.
And I have the perfect person to offer up insight into this topic, Dr. Jane Shaw.
If you want your business to be sustainable in the future, you got to be proactive.
Dr. Shaw has practiced in various areas of pharmacy, including community, hospital, regulatory, and industry. She also helped launch the hepatitis C screening program at London Drugs. But it's her current position as an instructor at the UBC Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences that gives her a particular front row seat on this topic. For those of you who are wondering, how did Jane and Pindy even know each other? We became very fast friends back at London Drugs. We have so many things in common, still do. But I think the theme that's actually connected us is just how passionate we are about community pharmacists and what we can do. So I was hoping to explore that with you today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me here.
Jane is a lecturer at the Faculty of Pharmacy, and she's working with the new generation of community pharmacists. But we're connected to, our old crew as well, right, Jane?
100%.
It's been a couple years now with entry to practice PharmDs in community pharmacy. How do you think things are going to play out? And then your thoughts on how they can collaborate with veteran pharmacists out in the community.
The new generation of pharmacy students actually learn a ton of information, not taught to us back in the days.
Okay.
They know how to read lab information. So it's nice that they now have Care Connect, because then they can really utilize their skill sets that they've learned. That said, I think they have a ton of things to learn from the veteran pharmacists out there. They've seen it all. So they've had patient interactions. They've had a lot of years of experience with communicating with patients, be able to get their information, building trust, and all of that soft skills, as well as knowing what are the most common drug disease interactions that they see in the community. Now, the students, on the other hand, they get all this information academically.
Right.
I feel like the students don't know that they have these skill sets because they haven't really utilized it in practice. So definitely, I think there is a mentorship, mentee type of relationship when they go out there on their experiential education.
Although the corner drugstore is often an all-service institution, its most important function is to serve as the health center of the community.
You and I remember those veteran pharmacists that taught us when we were new grads, and that fear, that first dispensing shift you have and you're so scared. I still remember it.
Me too. I remember the first shift that I had. My friend and I went into this pharmacy, was so busy. The first prescription I had to do, the patient's asked me to advance Tylenol 3s.
Of course.
I was like sweating beads. Yeah. Because you're just like, oh my God, why? This first one, I thought it was going to be, similar to my OE practice and all that. I think at the end of the day, life and experience really helped me sharpen my sword, so to speak. But then now I see all these students learning all these things I wish I learned back in the days. And of course, things are changing all the time.
You bring up a really good point. They're learning so many different things than we did. I think that's what's exciting to see how this will play out in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Is what it's going to look like. With $470 billion US in net sales last year, it's no understatement to say that the e-commerce giant Amazon has shaped the way that we consume and do business. Amazon's entry into the pharma space began with its acquisition of the online pharmacy PillPack back in 2018, and since then it has changed the face of pharmacy in America. Now, Amazon Pharmacy has laid its sights on Canada, and the expansion of its service is imminent here. Traditional pharmacy will need to adapt to succeed. So how do we prepare? So for our listeners, I wanted to share that Jane had actually composed a presentation and presented it to many pharmacists. And you wrote an article for Canadian Health Network as well, that is available. And the topic was the Amazon threat. It's coming. Mm-hmm. It would be great if you could share some thoughts on that.
I felt compelled to write it because I see it in the States. It's coming. Locations are getting closed, and they're big box chain stores with lots and lots of money, and they're closing some of their shops. I think it's important for us as Canadian pharmacies to realize that it's inevitable. It's a habit that patients are starting to really embrace, which is online shopping. And in addition to that, they want their prescription delivered, especially ones where they're more stable on. They don't want to come in anymore. They've had that relationship. They want fast delivery of their medications. Let's face it, they know more about their disease states and medications than a lot of the healthcare providers. Pharmacists should be more in tune with what's coming next. It's time to innovate instead of having Amazon threat coming and really facing the inevitable and be shocked or be like, oh my God, do I need to close my store? Do I need to tell my staff? Do I need to cut staff? And those are the things that you can avoid if you start things right now.
First, Amazon came for the drugstore chain's front of store. Now it's taking direct aim at the back of the store at their pharmacies.
We were talking about the new grads have this whole clinical knowledge, and you have our veteran pharmacists who have all this experience, and bringing them together and then joining to fight that threat. Because we know that there's such value in patients talking to real pharmacists in real time, in person. I really do encourage all of you to check out Jane's article that was on the network as well, and to really embrace it. Because, Jane, that was what we were really honing in is don't wait, it's coming. And there's stuff you can do, and there's resources out there.
And all these new grads, they're learned to do medication reviews. They're doing all of these things where you can build your business and really utilize their knowledge as well. You don't want to hire all these new grads and tell them to do dispensing. I think it's important to know what are these new grads good at? How do I collaborate with our existing staff? And also where you want to be in the future, knowing that this threat is coming. We're not talking a chain pharmacy. You're really looking at revolutionary kind of change to the way your patients shop and the way your patients fill their prescriptions and their medication needs. So really think it through long term.
Ride the wave of pharmaceutical care instead of being buried or swallowed by it.
I think pharmacists are just excited for the opportunity to use more of our education and be able to help our patients besides just here's your prescription, here's how to take it.
Thank you, Jane. It's always fun, and you and I were very PC. We didn't drop any profanity because, for those of you listening who know us really well, we know that can happen. I really appreciate you taking time from the day, and you're at UBC right now lecturing.
Yeah.
Say hi to those students for me.
Will do. Thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed listening to today's episode of the Pharmacast with Pindy. I like to end each episode with a pearl of wisdom, something I like to call Pindy's practice pearl. So today's pearl is collaboration. I encourage you all to work together. Veteran pharmacists and these new graduates coming out with their entry to practice PharmDs. I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us all to gel together, as professionals and know that there's such a depth of knowledge that comes from experience and the depth of knowledge that these new graduates now have because of the different path that they have taken in community pharmacy. Pharmacast with Pindi is produced by Everything Podcasts. Subscribe anywhere you discover your favorite podcasts. Thank you.